Good morning, grade 4. How are you today? Today is Sunday. As you know, we have today a new story with new skills and genre. The story that we will take this week is Moonwalk. The story for this week is Moonwalk. The author, Ben Bova, and the genre for the story is science fiction. The skill, draw conclusions. So this is what we will study this week. Moonwalk, the author Ben Bova, genre for this week science fiction, and the skill draw conclusions. Let's start with drawing conclusions. Let's watch this video, then I will explain for you.
When you read, you are always drawing conclusions. A conclusion is a decision or judgment you reach after all the facts and details have been considered. What you see here is a nice park with lots of people having fun. But this man and his daughter look like they're leaving. Why? If you look at the scene a little closer, maybe you can figure it out. What details help you figure out why they are leaving the park? What conclusion can you draw about what's happening here? Think about the details you see. You may have also used some of your prior knowledge, or what you already know, to figure out what was going on. Being able to draw conclusions helps you understand what happens in a story. Looks like everyone else at the park needs to draw the conclusion that they may get caught in a rainstorm.
So what do I mean by drawing conclusion, grade 4? Okay, drawing conclusions. What do I mean by drawing conclusions? Okay, drawing conclusion. What does this mean? What do I mean by drawing conclusion? Conclusion is a decision that you make based on the information you have. So again, drawing conclusion. When you are making a conclusion, the conclusion is a decision you make. How you will make this decision? This decision you will make based on your information about this, about the subject, or about anything. So drawing conclusion, grade 4, is a decision that you make based on information you have. This information comes from two places. How I can make a conclusion, even maybe from my knowledge, from my head, or maybe from the story that I have, from the information that I have. So I have two ways to make conclusion: from the information that I have in my head and the information that I can read. That's something that I have details with facts. So therefore, to draw a conclusion, you must do two things. When we want to make a conclusion, we must do two things. The first thing, use what you already know. Use what you already know, your knowledge about the thing. So use what you already know. The second thing, use what you have learned from the story. The details that I have in the story, I will use it to draw my conclusion about something. So when you put these two things together, you can make a decision. You can draw a conclusion when you are when you use what you already know, and when you use what you already read. This is what you are making now, a conclusion about what occurred or about what is to come. Let's have an example. I want you to try to draw a conclusion here with me. I'm Harry. I have 4 legs. I like to take long walks and chase squirrels. What do you think? Who am I? hairy, have 4 legs. I like to take long walk and chase squirrels. If you want to draw a conclusion here, let's see. I'm hairy, has lots of hairs. Few animals has hairs, like certain animals are hairy. I have 4 legs. Dogs and cats have 4 legs, right? I like to take long walks with my owner and chase squirrels. Only dogs like to take long walks with their owners and chase squirrels. Here, girls, I'm depending on my knowledge, on the things that I know about the thing that we are talking about. So from my knowledge, I can guess and I can draw conclusion that I'm talking about what? I'm talking about the dog. They give me information, and based on this information and my knowledge, I can guess that we are talking about the dog. So if we use what we already know, it helps us come to the right conclusion. Another example, I'm round. I'm covered with sauce. Some people like to put meat and vegetables all over me. I'm cut in separate slices for people to eat. What am I? What do you think? What is it? I'm round. Lots of things are round. I'm covered with sauce. Only certain foods are covered with sauce, like meatballs and pizza. So what do you think? Is it meatball or pizza? Some people like to put meat and vegetables all over me. You don't put meat and vegetables on meatballs, right? So certainly this is pizza. I'm cut into separate slices for people to eat. Only pizza, not meatballs, is cut into separate slices. So here the red lines, girls, is what? Is my information about the thing. This is my knowledge about the things that we are talking about. So when we want to draw a conclusion, we can use what we already know, our knowledge about the thing that we are talking about, or we can use what we are reading in the story. And the 2 examples that I gave you now, it's about the thing that you know, your knowledge. Now let's have another example about a story. Let's have another example about a story to draw a conclusion about it. Please listen carefully. Remember to do 2 things. Use what you already know, use what you learned in the story. It was a hot day and the sun beat down on all of the sun-screen people laying on the blankets on the sand. The seagulls could be heard overhead flapping their wings, waiting for a scrap of food to drop to the ground. The moist air was rich with the smell of the sea salt and the grilled hot dogs. In the background was the laughter of children, the soothing sound of waves continuously lapping at the shore. Now, I'm talking about what? Where does this story take place if I want to draw my conclusion? So I told you, remember 2 things. Use what you already know about the topic, or use what you learned in the story. What do we know? People are laying on a blanket on the sand. Seagulls are flying overhead. This is what we have in the text. The air smells like sea salt and hot dogs. Children are playing and having fun. We have also constant waves. So what do you think all these things, all these facts that they put for us, where do you think where we are? The story takes place where? If your answer is the beach, you have the correct conclusion. So what did I do here? I took information from the text to draw my conclusion, to guess I'm talking about what. So when we want to draw a conclusion, You can draw your conclusion by what, how, by using what you already know, and from the information and the details from the text, I can draw my conclusion. From the details from inside the text, I can draw my own conclusion about the story or about the page or about anything. Okay, class? So this is drawing conclusion. Now I need you to, we will start with the vocab for this week. For this week, we have 8 vocabs. The first vocab is loons. Please repeat the words with me. Loons. One more time. Loons.
Loomed.
Loomed again. Okay, what do I mean by loomed, class? To appear.
Appeared dimly or vaguely as a large, threatening shape.
So, appeared dimly. What do I mean by appear dimly? To appear. When something appears to you, this is loomed. So, loomed, the meaning of loomed is to appear. Sentence about it.
Suddenly, a huge creature loomed out of the shadows.
So to show something or to appear, this is loomed. Again, loomed, appeared, appeared. Next vocab is
Rill.
repeat it one more time. Rill. One more time. Rill. What do I mean by rill, grade 4? Grade 4, rill is a long, narrow valley. Long, narrow valley. The meaning of rill is a long, narrow valley.
A long, narrow valley on the surface of the moon.
Sentence about it.
The deep rill stretched at least 50 feet across the surface of the moon.
So when I mention rill, what do I mean by rill? A long, narrow valley. Valley is the land between 2 mountains, remember? Next one is runt. Repeat please the words. Runt. Again, runt.
Runt.
What do I mean by runt? Runt is something small and weak.
Animal, person, or plant that is smaller than the usual size. If used about a person, runt is sometimes considered offensive.
So, runt again, class. Runt is something, something weak or small. Sentence.
We set aside the smallest pumpkin, the runt of the patch.
Next vocab is
Staggered.
repeat it please. Staggered. One more time. Staggered. Repeat please, it's not repeating. Staggered. What do I mean by staggered, grade 4? Staggered.
Became unsteady, wavered.
So when something is not steady, unsteady, something is moving and unsteady, we call it staggered. So became unsteady, this is staggered. Unsteady. Staggered is unsteady. Sentence.
They staggered under the weight of the heavy costumes.
Staggered, it means not steady, they were moving. Summoning. Repeat the word, please. Summoning. One more time. Summoning.
Summoning. Stirring to action, rousing.
Summoning, the meaning of summoning, to call someone, to call or recall. Call or meet or recall, this is the meaning of summoning. Call, recall, or to meet. Summoning. To order someone to come, also summoning. Summoning, okay? Sentence about summoning.
Summoning up my courage, I dived into the pool.
Summoning, it means I collect all my courage here and I dived into the pool, into the into the pool. Sorry. So summoning here, the meaning of summoning, it could be to meet with someone, it means to collect, it means to call or recall. Next vocab is
taunted,
one more time, taunted. Repeat, please. Taunted. Taunted. What do I mean by taunted?
jeered at, mocked, reproached.
What do I mean by mocked or jeered at? Mocked and jeered at, it means when someone is making fun of something. When someone is making fun of something or someone. So this is mocked, mocked or jeered at. Taunted, taunted when someone is making fun of something. Sentence.
They showed poor sportsmanship when they taunted the team for losing the game.
So they showed the poor sportsmanship when they taunted the team for losing the game. For sure, if the team that you are competing against you showed for you that they disrespect you or they were mocking you, for sure you will show what poor sportsmanship, because in the beginning they are not respecting you. Next vocab.
Trench,
One more time. Trench. Repeat, please. Trench. Again. Trench. What do I mean by trench? The meaning of trench is any ditch.
any ditch, deep furrow.
What do I mean by ditch? Look at the picture. Look, can you see this part that is where they dig here? This is the ditch. Ditch or trench. Okay.
Trench,
So, trench, the meaning of trench is a ditch. And what is the ditch? This is the ditch. Okay?
the soldiers dug a deep trench in which they hid.
Repeat the word, please, again. Trench. Trench. What do I mean by trench? A ditch. Ditch. Next one and the last one.
Trudged,
One more time.
trudged,
Trudged. Repeat, please. Trudged. One more time. Trudged. What do I mean by trudged? Walking with effort or walking wearily.
walked wearily or with effort.
Wearily, it means when you are tired and you are walking in a slow way. So walked wearily or with effort. This is the meaning of trudged, when you are walking with effort. Okay?
At the end of the day, we trudged up the hill to get home.
So those are the 8 vocabs for today. Trudged. Next one is trench. Then hunted, summoning, staggered, run, rill, looned. I need you now to open your books, class. Page 360.